for the video. This is for the hostages that were freed, for all the hostages that will be freed, for all the people that lost their lives while redeeming Eretz Yisrael, and the full Shlema for Shmuel ben Tzadok, not feeling well, a friend of mine. Chaim. Okay, Daf Chav Hey, Amud Beis. Daf Chav Hey, Amud Beis. Daf Chav Hey, Amud Beis. We finished. It's like 4 lines from the wide lines. We finished the story with the Gezha, with the Yichus. What the Mashal said, that the Yichus doesn't really count unless you do something out of it. Make something out of it that you are a Talmud Chacham. Otherwise, Yichus don't mean much. We're going to go through a few stories of a few people that passed away. And either what happened when they passed away, some interesting stuff that happened, or what kind of hespedim, what kind of eulogy did the people eulogize the person that passed away. So Kanach Nafshe Ravina, 4 or 5 lines from the wide lines. Kanach Nafshe Ravina, when Ravina passed away, Ravina was one of the people that compiled the Gemara, Shas. Ravina and the Rashi were friends and were contemporaries, and they compiled the way they ended the Gemara. When Ravina passed away, he was a very big Talmud Chacham. His eulogizer started eulogizing him. What did he say? Tmoim hanihudoish, the date palm trees. Lower your heads. Al tzaddik katomal, on a tzaddik that is compared to a tamar, to a palm tree. And palm trees, the weekend, right? Everyone is in Florida, so this is maybe also. Noshim kaleilos, nosim leilos kayomim, make your nights like this. Okay, anyways. A tzaddik is like a tamar. Why is a tzaddik a tamar? So if you look at Meforshim and Tehillim in the Perek tzaddik base, there's a lot of Meforshim exactly why the tzaddik is considered like a tamar. That there's good fruits there, that the fruits are healthy, that the tree itself, the trunk is strong, or the trunk renews itself, the palm tree trunk goes like in pieces. There's a lot of different Meforshim why the tzaddik is like a tamar, like a date tree. But he said basically, such a tzaddik like Ravina passed away, that the date trees, the palm trees, should lower themselves because of the big loss that we had that he passed away. And Nasim Leilas Kiyamim, the nights should be done like this. We should weep a hesped, we should cry after the tzaddik at night, just like by day. We should basically 24 hours are busy with eulogizing the tzaddik. Why? Al Shmeisim L'Esklam, because he put the nights like this. Someone else touched it. Nasim as a Nashim woman. Women should weep constantly because they would hire women to weep. And in this case of Ravina, they should continuously weep because such a tzaddik passed away. Now his friend Rashi said, you know what? Let me see what are people going to say when I'm going to die, when Rashi is going to die. So Amar Rashi Kipoik, there were 2 people that were famous eulogizers, that were poetic and they knew how to combine things and connect things. So Rashi turned to both of them and told to Bar Kipoik, was one of them, Hahu Yoimam, when the day comes, when I go, my Amos, what are you going to say? So he said, he compared him to 3 things. I will say the Mashal, what it says, why these 3 things. My Amos, I said, I will say, Imba Alozim Nafla Shalavis. Alozim is cedar trees, very tall trees. If the fire was able to consume a big, tall cedar tree, Mayasu Azoy, what will the shrubs on the ground, the grass on the ground, what are they going to do? Basically saying, if somehow this big tzaddik passed away, which protected the Yidden at that time, the Rashi, what's the Jewish nation going to do then? Leviathan, the Leviathan, the big fish, he was brought up from the water with a fishing rod. If that's the case, if you're able to fish at such a big fish from the water, the gay, the kak, what are the little fish that are nothing, that you can capture them with nothing, you can take them out. So if the big fish, the Rashi, was able to be taken out, what are the little people going to say? That's the second way he compared them. And the third way is benachal shoitev naflachaka. If you would put in a fishing rod in a very fast flowing river, the chances you're catching a fish is not as much, but you'll catch something. You'll catch a fish. But if you will put that fishing rod in a small, tiny place where there's a very little body of water, like a swamp or something, then you could catch the fish really quick. So if the tzaddik, which is like a nachal shoitev, if you were able to fish out if the tzaddik was able to be swept away with a nachal shoitev, with a flowing river, what are the people, the little guys that are sitting in the swamps, what are they going to do? What are the little waters going to do? So the Mashal explains he compared the Vina in three ways, and basically saying he told the Vina that when you all pass away, it will be such a sad day for the Yidden. I'm going to awaken the Yidden to do tshuva, and this is how I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them if such a tzaddik can be consumed by fire, can be killed, he died. What are you going to do? And if you want to tell me that look, fire when it consumes, it goes up, it never goes down. Fire goes up. That's why you say when there's a fire, you're supposed to crawl on the ground. Fire goes up, doesn't go down. So if you would say that the little shrubs on the ground, they're not going to be affected. So I'm not going to be affected. So I'll tell you the other mashal, that the Leviathan is caught in a if you catch the big fish, the small fish is much easier to catch. So the same thing also, you might be saved from the fire that's going to consume the trees. That fire might not consume you, but look, you can be also compared to small little fish, that you will be caught much easier than the Leviathan. And if you want to tell me that the fishermen that catch Leviathan, they're not interested in the little fish. If I catch this, so basically the Eibush, the Malach Movis, is not interested, the Havdil, is not interested in the little fish. So I'm good, I'm okay. So he brings the third mashal, and it says that in the small, tiny bodies of water, you don't even have to put a fishing rod. You put a net, you go like this, and you catch all the fish. You can't be saved. There's nowhere for you to run. That's why they use the three mashalim on the Rashi. Okay, so and the other Basafda, the other eulogizer said, look, it's not nice. You're comparing the Rashi to a tree that's consumed with fire, or to a leviathan, a fish that is brought out with a fishing rod. What's going on? You can't say that a tzaddik is compared to someone that's going to be consumed by fire or caught as like a fish. So the guy told him, "My Amanas, what would you say?" Amina, he answered, "I would say, cry for the mourners, not for the lost object." Compared the Rashi to a lost object, that when he will pass away, he will be lost. And who's the pain? Who does he leave with pain? The people that are down in this world are in pain now. So cry for the mourners that are left in this world that just lost a massive object, lost a huge object. But not for the object itself. Don't cry for the object itself. Why? Because the object is the menucha, is in a resting place, in a good place. V'anu la'anacha, played on the words menucha anacha, and we are going to be sighing, krechting, we are going to be crying. But Rashi didn't like this comparison, that he's being compared to someone that is compared to, that he's going to be consumed by fire, or he's going to be taken out like a fishing rod. And the Meforshim say that it's a Talmud Chacham. A Talmud Chacham, it says, "En mayim el toilet." Toilet is like water. Like a fish swims in the water, the toilet, Yid swims in the water of the toilet. And here you're basically saying that Rashi, when he died, it is like we took you away from the toilet. We took you away from the water. Or you will be consumed by fire. Eshav Gehenim is going to burn it. It's not a good comparison. So he was not too happy about this, nor was he happy about the comparison by the Veda. I'm not some kind of lost object. I'm a loss for the Yidden, but don't call me an Aveda, don't call me a lost object. So the Rashi turned to them. He became very upset about this. He became fallen by himself. He became depressed that this is what they compared him to, and he had a kpeda. He was upset at them. And their feet became messed up. They turned over or turned in or something. They got messed up. The day that Rashi actually passed away, they did not go to the hesped because they couldn't walk. Their feet were not carrying them. They couldn't walk. Behind them, Rashi, and that's what Rashi said. That later on, before he passed away, he said, both of them cannot perform the mitzvah of chalitza, because in order to perform the mitzvah of chalitza, your feet must be in working order. and he cursed them, or he was upset at them, and their feet were not working. What is the connection with their feet and what they said? So the Mashar explains that according to Kabbalah, obviously didn't send 100%, I didn't have enough time to look at it, but according to Kabbalah, he was upset because even when a tzaddik passes away, there is the Anan Chassidus, we know already, the Chida, the Chaya, Chida stays. It's only the one that comes to the lower, to Neshama. The Neshama Beguf goes away, but the higher levels of the Neshama stays and goes in Gan Eden and goes up and Maila. And according to what you were saying is, I'm lost. I'm done. Once I die, there's nothing left in me. So basically you're saying that there's no part of my Neshama that has a continuation. It says, but it says according to Kabbalah, by Chalitza, it says also the reason why a brother can do Chalitza for his brother's wife, his brother passed away, so he can do his wife, because he has a part of the neshama that's left in there, that's part of him, that he can go do that mitzvah. So he was basically hinting them, you wanted me to lose the little part of the neshama, therefore I'm going to make you lose a mitzvah that according to Kabbalah has to do with a part of the neshama that's left. That's what the Mashar explained. That's the midah connected midah. And they couldn't perform the mitzvah anymore.
So brothers share neshama.
I guess something. The Gemara says weiter, yeah? 6 lines from the Y lines. Rava. This has nothing to do with passing away. It's just, but Avin was a poetic guy, and he knew how to put psukim together and make it nice. So he was once walking with Rava, and he came to the river, the Tigris River in Iraq, the Diglas. It was a rushing river. Rava wanted to cross, and he was scared to cross. Something's going to happen. Maybe he's going to drown. So Amad Lava Avin, he turned to Bava and said, "Kum, get up. Eva Milza, say something. Daven for us. Say some kind of prayer." Koi v'Amad, he got up and said, "Boyu, doif shlishis v'mayim." The Yidden are called the Am Shlisoy, the nation made out of 3, because Yidden have Kohen Levi Yisrael, Yidden have Avram Tzchak v'Yakov, Yidden have Toyd Nevim Ksuvim. There's a lot of things. So Toyd Nevim Ksuvim is considered. That's what Toyd is a Tlisoy. But the Yidden have a lot of things that are made out of 3. And so he said, you, Ava, are such an important person to the Yidden, you are considered as the majority of 1/3 of the Yidden. So you're a big majority. So so he said, come, the majority of 1/3 of the, come to the water. Love, come to the water. And the Eibush says, please remember and have mercy on us. I know that to'inu me'achadecha, we strayed behind you. Like a woman strayed from her husband. And what do you do when a woman strays from her husband? What do you do? And the Gemara in Saita says, you give her to drink water. So he was basically hinting, don't test us with this water as if you would test a woman that strayed behind her husband. Yes, we strayed away from you, like a wife strayed from her husband. Do not forsake us in these raging waters, like the water, the bitter water that the woman is tested. And that was the b'dacha that he asked, and I guess the story was that they passed and everything worked out. The Gemara is now going to give us stories of different people that passed away and what happened at that time, or the hesped, the eulogy that said. Chanin, Yochanan, Zeda, Abba, Yaakov, Yosef, Shmuel, Chia, Menachem, Simon. These are the names of the people that we're going to mention. Rab Chanin Chassan ibn Nasi Abba, he was the son-in-law of the Nasi, was the son of the prince, the leader of that generation. Loi Kohava Le Bani, he did not have any kids or kids. Ba'ad Achmei, he didn't have any kids. Ba'ad Achmei, he davened to Hashem and he asked for mercy. V'havale, a boy was born to him. Ahu Yoima, that day, the Havale, that his boy was born to him, Noch Nafshei, he passed away. The eulogizer opened up and started his eulogy with this. What did he say? Simcha, happiness, letuga nefacha, was turned over into sadness. Sosain, joy, v'yagain, another form of sadness. Nidbaku, they got connected.
In fact, rejoicing. That's it.
He was happy that his kid was born, but then he passed away. So sosain v'yagain, the happy, joy and sadness got connected. Be'ez simchas nenach, in the moment that of his simcha, that he had a son Nenach, he basically passed away. Be'ez chaninasoi ovat chaninoi, and the moment that the Eibusha graced him with a son, ovat chaninoi, his grace was lost. We know that Yaakov Avinu, when he met Esav, he told Esav asked him, who are these kids? Yaakov said, Ashechonan Elikim Zavdecha. These are the kids that the Eibush had mercy with his grace. With his grace, he graced me. And later on, when Yosef met Binyamin, he said the same thing. Chanino is goes in kids. So this eulogizer said that in the day of his Chanino, the day that he was graced with his children, Avad Chanino, he lost his own chen. Asikole Chanan Shmein, they called the child Chanan, named after his father, Chanan ben Chanan, and it's also a play of words, Chanan, Chanino, so it's a play of words as well. But that happened to Chanin. What happened to Yochanan? Kinach nafshet Rabbi Yochanan, when Rabbi Yochanan passed away, Pasach le Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar said, Kosh hayom l'Yisrael ki bo hashemesh. Today is as difficult for the Yidden like the day that the sun set Batzonayim in the afternoon. When the sun sets early, there's actually a name for it. There's a clinical name for the depression that certain people get when the sun sets. There's a clinical name. And here it says there was a one time that the sun set early, and the day that Rabbi Yochanan passed away is as if at that day, if it's that day. When did that happen? That happened when a king passed away. It says in the pasuk that it was that day. And I brought in the sun. I brought it back home. I set the sun, Batzonayim in the afternoon. And what does it say afterwards? It said that they had he passed away, and that they I will turn over your day from happiness to sadness. That goes in the day of Yeshio. It's the same of Yochanan that said that passed away. He named it in the name of Yochanan that passed away. He said that the day that Yoshio passed away, the big king passed away, that the sun set early, and that tzaddikim they don't say that Yochanan really is also on himself. When he passed away, is that the sun is as if the sun set early.
Rashi says Motam Gaharget
because of
Yoshio.
Yeah. Kinach nafshe Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan passed away. Yeah, the same Rabbi Yochanan. Yosef of Ami Shiva or Shloshim of Ami sat Shiva, and he did the entire thing Shloshim. Rabbi Chia said that what Rav Ami the Ovid like a Meod Ovid. Rav Ami when he did that, when he sat Shiva and he did complete Shloshim, he did it for himself. He didn't have to. The same Rabbi Yochanan that just passed away, he taught us that even if it's your teacher that taught you Torah, you only have to sit Shiva one day. You don't have to go through Shiva and Shloshim. You have to do it just one day. And he sat Shiva and Shloshim, so he did it for himself. Kinach nashe the Rav Zev, and Rav Zev passed away, Pasach Aleo, how Savdan, this eulogizer opened up, started up and said, Eretz Shinor. Rav Zev was someone that was born in Babel, later on went to Eretz Yisrael, lived his life in Eretz, then moved to Tveria, and then lived in Tveria and passed away. Shinor is Babel. So what did he say? He said like this: Eretz Shinor, land of Babel, Hara v'Yolda, conceived and gave birth to Rav Zeda. Eretz Tzvi, Eretz Yisrael, Gidla Shashuel, he raised the Shashuel, is the darling of Babel. Oyna la Amor Rekes. Rekes is a nickname for Tveria, and Rekes said, Oy, ki of the Chemasa, they lost their treasure at Keli. Eretz Tzvi is called Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara says, I don't remember where the Gemara says, but the Gemara says that the Eretz Yisrael is considered like Eretz Tzvi because just like a deer, when you skin it, you can never put the skin back on the animal because it shrinks. And the Eretz Yisrael also, the more people live, the wider Eretz Yisrael gets, which is the reason why we should all do Aliyah at some point. And but that's basically what Eretz Tzvi. So Zayda moved from Babel to Eretz Yisrael. So he this is what the eulogizer said. Kinach nafshe Rabavo, when Rabavo passed away, achisu amudei tekesam. Until now is what they said. Yes, but now there are very interesting things happened when the individual passed away. When Rabavo passed away, the amudim, the pillars of Kesaria, and that's all, they were full of water, and it almost seemed like they were crying. When Rabbi Yosef passed away, Shifu Marzevei de Tzipoy Adamo. the gutters of Tzipori, which was a place that he had to run away from the Romans, were full of blood. I say that one of the reasons why he had to run away is because he was a big proponent of Milah, and he was fighting against the government to push Milah, and that's why the blood was a remiss to that. The Rav Yaakov is Chamiu Koicheva B'Yamama. When Rav Yaakov passed away, you were able to see the stars in the day. The stars usually you can't see because there are stars you only see because it's a reflection of the sun, but the sun was darkened, so you're able to see the stars. That's how bad it was. The Rav Asi, when Rav Asi passed away, Ikru Kol Ilanaya, all the trees were uprooted. The Rav Chia, when Rav Chia passed away, Nechiso Kifi Denua, rocks of fire came down from Shamayim. Rav Nachem Yosef passed away. Ishteu Tzalmonaya, the statues, Tzlomim, the Getchkas, became smooth. There were no faces. The faces became smooth. They became smooth like a workman that goes through plaster something smooth. In the Mashal, it explains like each one has a reason why this happened when he passed away, because each one was something else. But from Nachem it says that he did not ever look at a coin that had a face of a king or something. The coins used to have always had a face of something, and they felt that it's an idol worship to look at it. So they never even looked at any of these surahs of these things. And they basically, when he passed away, so all these were destroyed. All the statues of the king that they would do after king passed away, they were all uprooted. The Rav Elyashiv passed away. Rav Elyashiv was someone that was saved the nation from thieves, and when he passed away, the thieves went and dug up 70 tunnels in the Haldah. So when he passed away, there were no tunnels. So that's the connection with Elyashiv and the tunnels.
But the picture.
Yeah, it's the difference of Elyashiv. And ask Mechila for using it just to entice people learning. So there's one of the people that writes an Achnan writes a Kiddush on Agadata, and he writes that this is actually not real tunnels. It goes on questionable organizations that print questionable books. So I'll leave it at that. It's not really tunnels, but it's organizations that are questionable, that print questionable books. Anyways, they have, because he was also a printer, I don't know, this is something that they bring down. They have Hamnuna, when Hamnuna passed away, the Chisa Kippur, the Bauda, Merakia, hail came down from the rocks of hail came down from Shemayim. The Rabba, Rabbi Yosef, and Rabba and Yosef passed away. Two people passed away, Rabba and Rabbi Yosef. So what happened? Noshuk Kippur the first Ahadodi, the bridge that went across the Euphrates River collapsed. So the tips of the bridge kissed. Noshuk Kippur the first Ahadodi, Rabba and Rabbi Yosef, two people. The Bayev and the Bayev passed away. Also something happened. Two people passed away. Noshuk Kippur the Diglas Ahadodi, the bridge that went over the Tigris River when also collapsed and the tips touched. Kenoch Nafsh the Meshashia passed away. Ta'un Dikle Shitzi, the palm trees started having a lot of thorns. Usually that doesn't happen, but they had a lot of thorns. Okay, so this is the end of the Agadata until now. It's weiter Agadata, but this is the end until now. We spoke about eulogy and things that happened when someone passed away. Going back to the Kriya, and basically saying over here that we had already before that when a parent passes away, the garment that you rip, you don't fix it back ever to in a professional way. When someone else passes away, a spouse, a child, you could fix it up, you could put it back together, but when a parent passes away, you have to rent the garment in such a way and you never put it back together. And the Gemara here is going to say there's a few more people that you're supposed to do that to, not only your parents, but also your teacher, a nasi. So the Gemara says, these are the ripped garments that you do clear on, that you don't put back together, you don't professionally put it back together. If someone parents pass away, mother or father. On a teacher that taught the Torah, and here there are certain Meforshim that they add Shalimdoi Loif to the that they taught him most of the Torah, and the difference is obviously, and as a machlekes in the Meforshim, whether someone that teaches you a line, a word, a toises, a rashi, or something, is that enough, or is it someone that taught you Loif to us, and as a machlekes in the Shonim, back and forth. Some people do like this, some people do like that. Actually, sorry, it's brought in Tosfos, I forgot. And this Tosfos is on the side, Chafei Amud Beis. It basically brings down Azoi Pega Metzias Pligi Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda Oim Kol Sheloif Chachma Seimeno. Rabbi Yehuda says it doesn't, not when he taught him anything, when he taught him most of his Chachma, that's when you have to do Kriya. Rabbi Yosef Afilu Ein Mishnah Achas, what taught him one Mishnah, that's enough. And basically what the Tosfos brings down, different people, and then the Shonim that paskant, one paskant like Rabbi Yehuda, one paskant like Rabbi Yosi, back and forth.
People talk about Thomas?
Technically, for a teacher, yeah, you do, but it has to be. But we paskin that loif chachmas. It has to be someone that taught you most. Okay. Well, for Rebbe, Valnasi, you what's it called? You do it clear.
He's asking Mapel what's the Torah.
I don't know what he did. But yeah, everyone did it clear. I remember my father doing clear.
Well, you were here or he was there?
No, he wasn't. We were in London. We were actually in London then that day. What?
Wherever they were.
Yeah, you did clear. Everyone did clear. Val Nasi, on a Nasi, a leader, Val Av Bezdin, and the Av Bezdin, Val Shmua Soes, if you hear very bad news, Val Brichas Hashem, if you hear the blessing of Hashem's name, obviously we're talking about the Sagenohid, where you hear someone cursing the Eibishter, or using Hashem's name in vain. You see the psukim later on, you see what happened. Val Sefer Torah Shnisa, Val Sefer Torah was burned. Val Oe Yehuda, if you see the destroyed cities of Judea, Val Migdash, Val Shleim. Oh, where's Judea? It's a Palestinian land? That's, right. The mother was written way before, Anyways, Val Migdash and the Beis Hamikdash, when you see the destroyed Beis Hamikdash, Val Yerushalayim and Yerushalayim, which is an interesting thing because the Gemara says, when you rip your garment, when you see the Beis Hamikdash destroyed, you go to the area of the that's a slal, the koisel, and you see it destroyed. Then you rip your garment, and then when you rip it, you add a little bit more for Yerushalayim. But Yerushalayim really you see beforehand. When you get to the koisel, you walk through Yerushalayim. So basically, on Yerushalayim itself, you don't have to rip the clear. Once you get the Mikdash, you also rip clear for Yerushalayim.
That's Kopel now. People do that.
Only the first time they're there. Some people do it actually every time they go there. Every time they go, it doesn't make a difference because it doesn't say only once. But the halacha, we do it only the first time you go there.
Maybe the hikah part is the kosel and then Yerushalayim can go.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like even though Yerushalayim you see before the kosel, so once you see the kosel, you also add on the Yerushalayim. You don't do a separate clear for Yerushalayim. You add on the Yerushalayim. Yes, but the halacha is that you do it, and when you see the kaisel, when you go to the kaisel, when you go to the area of the Beis Hamikdash, I know some people that they do it because of the shaylas. This, yes or no, so they make sure when the first time they go, there's going to be a Shabbos. Shabbos you don't do clear. The second time you were the second time, so you don't do clear. Okay. Zot Gemara. Now we're going to go through each one of them. Each one that we mentioned. What's the source? And some of them, the source also, what's the source that you actually do clear? And then the other sources, how do you know that you don't fix it? So, Avi ve'imoy, ve'raboy, parents and their teacher. How do we know that we do clear? The Chsiv, when Elisha saw Eliyahu Navi go to Shemayim, he went, all of saw Shemayim, went to Shemayim. So, what does it say in Pasuk? Elisha saw, V'hu metzaik, and he screams. What's the pasuk? V'mitzaik Avi Lechem Yisrael, Father, chariot of the Yisrael, Feroshav, and the horsemen with oid, and he did not. The pasuk goes weiter. They say, I did not see Eliyahu Navi again. Vayachad, the pasuk finishes. Vayachazek v'gadov, he held them to his garments. Vayikodim, he ripped them. The shnayim kodem, the two rips. He ripped them in half. So this is the pasuk number one. Teaches you have to do clear. And it says Avi Avi Lechav Yisrael. So the Gemara says Avi Avi. The Avi Ve'imah that goes on the father and mother. Lechav Yisrael. What does it mean? The chariot of the Yidden. The Falash the Rabbi Shimon Torah that goes on his teacher that taught him Torah. The Gemara my mashma. Why do you say that the Lechav Yisrael means a teacher? Kim the Metagim of Yosef. The Yosef was Metagim. Rabbi. Avi goes his father. Rabbi. The Tavlo in Yisrael is better for the Yidden Bitzloise with his prayers. Mertichin avoshin from chariots and horsemen. That's how Yair Navi was much more important, and that's when he passed away. He was a teacher of the Eden, so that's why they had to rip their garments. How do we know that we don't fix it? How do we know we don't fix the garments? Because it says in Pasuk, he held on to his garments. He ripped it in two. He ripped it. The Shnaim cut him to two rips. All you have to say, Ve'kadim, he ripped it. Why does it say Ve'kadim? He ripped it, L'shnaim kalim to two rips. Mashma shenem Ve'kadim. The fact that the Pasuk says Ve'kadim, I ripped it, and he did L'shnaim, sure, when he rips something, it goes into two. He ripped it in such a way that it will always stay in two pieces. And this is because a father and a mother and a teacher, you don't fix the garments. In fact, that was actually a simple question. Eliyahu Navi went up to Shemayim alive. All of Shemayim went up to Shemayim alive. So if he went up to Shemayim alive, why do you have to do Kliyah? He never passed away. You only do Kliyah when someone passed away. Shlokish turned to his brother-in-law and said, Eliyahu Chayhu, he's alive. Why didn't he even do Kliyah? Why did Elisha do Kliyah? Amalei, he said Kivin Deksiv. He never saw him again. So to Elisha, it was considered someone who died. The whole thing was for himself. Now we know that when someone passes away, a father and mother pass away, or a teacher passes away, you do Kliyah and you don't fix it up afterwards. Then the Mishnah said, the Tana Rabbanan said also that you do the same for Nasin Av Bezdin, for the Av Bezdin, Ushmur Zerois, for these three, Nasi Av Bezdin, and bad news. How do we know that you have to do Kliyah? The Chsiv, because it says in the Pasuk, V'yachs David B'Godov, V'yikarim, David held onto his garments, V'yikarim, and he ripped it, V'gam Kol Anoshim Asher Itoi, also the people that were with him, V'yispedu, eulogized, V'yifku, V'yitzumu, they cried and fasted at the Erev until the night. Why did they do that? Because this was after the war that Shaul Melech and Yonasan passed away, and a lot of Yidden were killed. Al Shaul, V'al Yehonasan, V'al Amashem, V'al Beis Yisrael Kinafel B'Chalav, because it fell in the sword. Shaul Zenosi, he was the king, he was the leader. Yehonasan Zav Bezdin, he was the Av Bezdin, the leader of the Bezdin. Al Amashem, Al Beis Yisrael, that they fell in battle. These are the bad news. So these are the bad news that happened, and they ripped clear, and that's why we have to rip clear when a Nasi or Av Bezdin passes away. So Shova, if I learned this, he asked Rav Kahana a question like this. Maybe the only time you would actually have to do Kliyah is when all three things happen at the same time. When a Nasi, an Av Bezdin, and a lot of bad news about Eden, because that's what happened over there. Ve'ema, Ada Havakulu, all three had to happen in order for you to do Kliyah. A father and mother, and we know. But maybe the other ones, you have to wait till everything happens at the same time. Amalei said no. The pasuk should have said that they ripped Kliyah al Shol ve'Yehonasan ve'Am Hashem. They split it each up within Va'al on Shol and on Yonasan and on the basis of al Hifsig Inyan. They mafsik the Inyan, and therefore each one is a separate thing. They don't have to happen at the same time. They can happen separately. And each one, when it happens, you have to do Kliyah. And as we know from the Mishnah, you don't fix the Kliyah as well.
Tamar, the occurrences of Simchas Torah took place on a weekday. That would be considered a Shmur Raz with that Tam Kriyan.
Zag the Gemara, Mikra and Shmur Raz, do we, one second, Mikra and Shmur Raz, do we actually do Kliyah on bad news? They told Shmuel, they came to him and told him bad news. Kotal Shvoya Malko, Shvoya the king, killed Teresa Alfa Yudoi, 12,000 Yidden, the Mezigas Kesali, in the place Mezigas Kesali. Veloika and Shmuel did not do Kliyah. And that's pretty bad news. 12,000 Yidden killed. 10 times more than unfortunately now in October 7th. That's what I said. And for the Gemara, the only time when you do Kliyah when it's bad news is if the majority, or a lot of people of the tzibur, the majority of the people are hurt, and this is apparently what happened in the Milchama with Shaul and Yonasan, and like the story that happened with Shaul and Yonasan, that many people fell in battle. That's how bad the news has to be in order to do clear. The story itself is a story. Did Shmuel Malka kill any Yidden? Shmuel came to Shmuel and told him, Tasali, I deserve a blessing. Why? I never of my own killed a Yid. So he basically said, I deserve blessings, I deserve recognition. And for the Gemara, it's not true that he did not, from his own volition, never kill the Yid. He didn't go just because he wanted to go kill the Jews. But in the case of these 12,000 Yidden of Mezigas Kesadi, or the place Mezigas Kesadi, what happened over there is they went against the king. He was the king, he was the leader at that time. And what happened was they were happy when one of the other towns did an uprising, a rebellion against the king, and they were excited to start singing and dancing. They deserve to be killed. But it's not because I wanted them, they started up. Hasam inu gavan and afsheo, those people in Mezigas Tzipora, they cause it on their own. The Omar of Ami said, lekal yesega the Mezigas Kesed, to the sounds of the yeseda of the kinoid, of the harps of Kesad, Mezigas Kesed, pakashu the Lutke. That's why the walls of Lutkios were breached, and therefore this is basically the broader than themselves. Tzaddik Gemara weiter. Al birchas Hashem and all. When you hear someone cursing the Eibishter, Chaz v'Shalom, how do you know that you also have to do clear? The Chsiv, it says in the pasuk. This is an interesting story in Melachim, and the story of Melachim is that Chizkiyahu was the king, and he did the right things. He destroyed the Bamas, he destroyed all the Getchkas and everything. And but there was a lot of wars at the time. At that moment in time, the king of Ashur at some point came up, and he decided to pay him money to leave him alone. He gave him a and then he came up and sent two messengers, Shveiko and someone else. He sent two messengers to speak to Yidden. They got up there and they spoke in Lashon Kodesh to all the Yidden, and they basically started cursing the Eibishter. They started saying, who does Chizkiyahu rely on? You think you rely on Egypt? Egypt is the little wimp, he can't do anything. Who is he going to rely on? You're going to tell Chizkiyahu is going to tell all the Yidden that the Eibush is going to save you? First of all, he destroyed all the altars, all the Mizbeach, everything that for the Getchkas he destroyed. And this Eibush that he wants you all to believe in him, he can't do anything. No, this Eibush never helped anyone. So therefore, there's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you. The only thing you could do is give yourself under my ruling, and I will be able to save you. And going through this process, he cursed out the Eibishter. So the messengers of Chizkiyahu heard that, and when he came back, Vayave Eliakim ben Chilkiyahu asher abayis, Eliakim, the son of Chilkiyahu, which was in charge of the house, he came back to Chizkiyahu. V'shavna Asayfa, V'yoyach ben Asav Amaskir, all the different people in Chizkiyahu's royalty came back al Chizkiyahu. What did they come back? Chadui begodim, with rent garments. Why? Because they heard that he was cursing out the Eibishter. So the rent garments, this is how we know that when you hear someone cursing out the Eibishter, you have to do clear. And the Gemara that we're going to continue next week is going to speak about what happens when you have to do with Aiden. But there's a small Taisus here. Was Rav Sheiko a Yid, or was he a Goy? Was a Yid that became a mummer, went against the Yidden of Taisus? Very quick. What is the halacha if you hear a Goy cursing the Eibishter? Verse Yid. B'ich Hashem and all of Taisus. B'ich Hashem denachin pligi. When you hear a Goy cursing out the Eibishter, there's a machloikas in Yerushalmi. Ista Amli. Some people say of Sheiko he saw a mumahava. He was a Yid, but he was a Yid that went against the Eibishter, and therefore, when the Yid cursed the Eibishter, you have to do clear. That's what the pasuk is talking about. Aval denachiloi, but if a Goy cursed the Eibishter, you don't have to do clear. V'is the Amri that no, Rav Sheiko was actually a Nachi, and it's basically a machloikas. We don't know. There's no end over here. But basically, it's an interesting thing that when it comes to a Goy cursing, we don't know what the halacha is. And the rest,
That's Sayyid Shalom.
Rav Sheiko.
Yeah.